Welcome to the Six for Sixers podcast. I am your host, Creek. And this is the Six for Sixers podcast. What we do on this podcast is we break down the game in 6 points or more. And the game tonight was against the New Orleans Pelicans. And the Sixers dropped their third straight game, losing to the Pelicans 103-95. And I will say I didn't wear my bag today, although I probably could have for a couple reasons. Just summarizing the game, coming into the game, I knew that the Pelicans were not a bad team. They're not making a lot of noise in the Western Conference, but they're not a bad team. They have Zion Williamson. They have Brandon Ingram. They have some good role players on the team. So I knew that they could pose a problem for us, particularly Zion Williamson, with his interior play and our lack of interior defense. And Brandon Ingram is just a difficult matchup for any team. And in true fashion and form, we did not win the game. Now, I did not expect kind of blowout loss. And I will say blowout loss, even though we only lost by 8 points. It was pretty much a blowout loss because it wasn't close for most of the game. It got close in the last couple minutes of the game. You could say the Sixers made a run, but I would just more or less say that the Pelicans were cruising. They just came down to the finish line. They knew they had a very sizable lead at the halftime, and I don't think that they put a lot of effort into that fourth quarter, just knowing that it would be very difficult for the Sixers to overcome that type of lead. And in true form and fashion, they were not able to overcome that lead. So I saw this as a game. Obviously, the way the Sixers played in the fourth quarter, they played with a lot more aggression. So it was a game that they could have won, but came up short in the end. Again, that's our third loss straight. And we are slipping down the standings. And I even posted on our Facebook page earlier today that I believe that the Sixers are not really trying to obtain a 6th seed, which would be a guaranteed playoff spot. I believe at this point in the season, they're really playing for the play-in tournament. And to be in the play-in tournament, you had to be anywhere between 7 and 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. And for the Sixers to drop below 10th would be, that would just be they would have to lose basically almost every game, or most of the games, which that is possible, being that we've lost probably 10 of the last 13 or something of that nature. But we're probably not going to slide beyond 10. So I believe the team strategy is rest guys, get Joel Embiid back, and then make a run at it. And when I say rest guys, there seems to be a pattern of guys who seem to have injuries or ailments. Guys that played in one game. I know Kyle Lowry, they say he's getting his conditioning back, but he'll play one game, he won't play the next game. He's not going to play a back-to-back, and because he's not in game shape, but that doesn't help us right now. Nick Batum played last game, played pretty well. And this game, his foot is sore. Maxey has been out for several games with, I guess, still on a concussion And so I don't know. I've never had a concussion. Maybe, you do get headaches days and days later. Robert Covington was out, and he's been nursing, I think, a sore knee for a couple months now. Joel Embiid, I get it, had surgery. Take your time, big fella. And even DeAnthony Melton, I do get that. He's back is a critical area of your body. Is very tough to operate when you have back pains and back problems. And I'm not sure if he's going to get over that in this season. But Anyway, this is the Six for Sixers podcast. 6 points, sometimes more. I'm going to keep it short today because I'm tired of talking about losing. And so let's keep it short and move along. Point number one, playing 4 quarters. I mean, that's in any sport that has 4 quarters, football, basketball. I mean, you have to play every quarter. You have to play every quarter like you play in the fourth quarter when you know the game's about to end. Do that in the first quarter and the second quarter. I think if the Sixers would have played up to their capability in the first and second quarter, this would have been a very different game. They were capable of winning the game in spite of really losing the first quarter. The game was pretty much, in my opinion, decided in the first quarter. After the first quarter, I was like, this thing is probably over. The Sixers were down 21 points, I think, in the first quarter. They got outscored in the first quarter, by 21 points. And so after that first quarter, it's pretty much a wrap. I mean, you can come back from 21 points, but then at the half, I think the Pelicans scored 61 points in a half to our like 30 or 30. I think we scored 15 and 16, so that's 31. So we were down at least almost 30 points or 30 points at the half. And it's hard to come back from a 30-point lead when, you know, you only have 2 more quarters to do it. And it's not like the Pelicans just going to let us do it whatever we want to do. They cruised, but they made it well enough to win the game. So playing 4 quarters is one of the basic premises of the game of basketball. And I think anybody that's ever played the game of basketball knows you got to put in maximum effort all 4 quarters. Sixers did not do that, which leads to a insurmountable halftime lead. And then we were just not able to overcome it. It got exciting at the end, but I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really that overjoyed at the end, thinking when we got it to 8 and then 8, and I think at one point we got it to 6. I still did not believe that they were going to win. Got a bad call at the end when New Orleans Pelicans player stepped out of bounds. Should have been overturned, but I guess rules are rules. But in short, you shouldn't let the game get that close. It should not come down to that. And I think if you're down 30, that's the bigger problem. All right, so that's point number one, is that you got to play 4 quarters. Point number 2 is that there was not enough starting power. Starters got to set the tone for the game. That's why you are a starter. That's why you're out there first, so that you can kind of lay down what the game is going to be. For the second unit is there to maintain the lead that you amass or the lead that you build up. But there, and sometimes second unit can go off and build on a lead, but it really depended on the starters and how they get off in the game. And starters didn't do well today. Overall, shout out to, I guess, Kelly Oubre for having, I think this like his 4th really good game in a row. He was pretty efficient. Tobias Harris was, he was okay. He wasn't terrible like he was last game, but he was still 0 for 5 for 3. And that just not acceptable in a game like this. We'll get to 3-point shooting later. But let's look at the other starters. Mo Bamba. Nurse gave you a shot, Bamba. Bamba's been looking for a shot. Hey, you had a raw deal, Bamba. You came there and they re-signed Paul Reed and they have the MVP Joel Embiid. So you figure you're the 3rd man. And then boom, out of nowhere, you're the 1st man. You're starting. What are you going to do with the opportunity? Well, today, here's what you did with the opportunity. You scored 2 points. And that's just not good enough. You pulled down 6 boards, and that's also not good enough for a starter. But really, let's look at the points. 2 points for interior player. Zion Williamson was, going to the basket like there was no interior defense. So, You didn't really, it's not like you contributing heavy on the defensive end and not so much on the offensive end. Just was not contributing really to me either end of the basket. Well, Mo Bamba was just not effective. And you're taking up a starting position, and that's probably why Nick Nurse opted shortly after to go with Paul Reed. Kyle Lowry, I don't know. I mean, I like Lowry's leadership. He runs the point pretty well. He is a little floor general out there, but it would be great if he get more than 6 points. 1 for 4 for 3-point, 1 for 5 overall. He did have 7 assists, which is pretty good. But in a game where we don't have Embiid, we don't have Maxey, we need more than 6 points from Kyle Lowry. I would say at least 10, maybe up to 15. And then last but not least, Buddy Hield. Buddy, you started off real good, buddy. They call you Buddy Love. They gave you a nickname and everything. And now look, 2 for 10, 8 points. And Buddy can't get his own shot, but I don't see them running a lot of plays for Buddy. Buddy's not coming off a lot of screens. He's trying to get his shot off, and Buddy just has never been the type of player that could create his own shot. And he's really not that savvy of a ball handler to do like a Steph Curry and ju in and out and cross and then shoot. He's got to shoot. Somebody's got to set a screen for him. He's got to come off a screen, and he's got to be relatively open. If he's not, he's just not gonna hit those shots. And he just shot terrible tonight. And so that's the starters. We had 2 that were in double digits, but the rest of them were single digit performances. You need more for your starters, especially with your 2 best players that are on the injury report. So point number 2, we need more from you starting guys. Point number 3, the defense. What can we say? That's been pretty much a trend the whole season. They were unavailable tonight. They weren't there. Pelicans first half, 61 points in the first half. Pelicans have 5 players in double scoring. And we didn't. I mean, there was no interior defense. Zion Williamson, I know he's a great player. Goes to the basket hard. It's hard to stop him. He's a big guy. But we just didn't do enough defensively, and we did not do enough to disrupt their 3-point shooting. They weren't great from 3. I think they were around about high 30s or 35%, somewhere like that, mid 30s. But still, they didn't have problems getting their shots. If they missed shots, they missed shots. But there was no real contest in the front court or the back court. They pretty much did what they wanted to do, as evidenced by 61-point half. So that is point number 3, is that the defense failed us again. And at this point, it falls on coaching. Guys aren't where they need to be. Guys aren't scrapping. They're not getting their hands out there. They're not getting the turnovers. They're not making it difficult. Point number 4, there is no clear go-to player at this point. When Maxey is there, it's Maxey. When Embiid's there, obviously it's Embiid, then Maxey, and then should be Harris. So let's do the math. You got Embiid, you got Maxey, you got Harris, you got Oubre. Embiid is out. Maxey is out. Harris, you up next, buddy. And so there is no clear. And when I say clear, we know Harris is up next because he's probably the 3rd best scorer on the team. And that could be debated too, but I'll just go with that for now. But let's say Harris is the 3rd best scorer on the team. But now, how is the offense flowing? Is it flowing through Harris? I would say no. Is Harris the go-to guy? Are they running plays for Harris? Is Harris the focal point of the offense? No. When Maxey and Embiid are out, there really is no focal point. You really just don't know how the offense is run. There's no continuity. There's no focus to it. You just see guys. I mean, you just hope a guy can score. Oubre kind of took their reins a little bit today. but there is no clear cut go-to guy, and we need a clear cut number one when our number one and our number two are out. And I just think it's becoming like, I know Nick Nurse cares, but it just doesn't seem like there's no effort in the game plan to know like what are we doing, who are we going to, what plays are we running for this guy, and is this guy going to be the focus of the offensive attack? No focus, and that makes it pretty predictable for other teams. That was point number 4. Point number 5, Buddy Hield. I think Buddy Hield might need to be moved to the second unit, at least when Maxey comes back. I don't know. He was 2 for 10. Like I said earlier, he has difficulty getting his own shot, and his strongest attribute is shooting a three-pointer. That's really Buddy Hield's made his career off of that, being a three-point sniper. And he wasn't sniping tonight. He was missing everything. 2 for 10, 8 points, and I believe 1 for 9 from 3. So let me make sure I got that right before I move on. Buddy Hield was 2 for 9 from 3, and that's around about 20-something%. You need more than that. If you would have given us a little bit more, spaces the floor out a little bit, creates a little pressure on the defense, come out there, opens things up for other guys. And we need him. We need Buddy to do what Buddy Hield has done his whole career, which is make three-pointers. And so, hey, if you're going to shoot 10, if you're going to shoot 9 of them, at least hit 3. That's 33%. But preferably, at his season average is almost, I think, 40%. So hitting 4 of them would have made a big difference in the ball game, I think. So I think Buddy Hield might need to go to that second unit. I like that new guy, Doughton. I wouldn't trade him in for Buddy for the first unit, but I think that with Maxey and Lowry in the backcourt, I think Hield would add some good firepower off the bench, because his output as a starter is not going to work. So number 5, move Hield to the second unit. Number 6, 3-point shooting. That's our big go-to 3-point shots. And obviously with Embiid there and Maxey, they shoot pretty well from the 3, particularly Maxey. When he's not there, it's up to other guys to bring it home, but then they're not the type of shooter that Tyrese Maxey is. So we kept shooting. So we don't change our game plan. Again, goes back to focal point game plan. We don't change our game plan when Maxey is out. We keep shooting threes. So then you had a Harris who was 0 for 5, Buddy Hield 2 for 9, Kelly Oubre 2 for 6. Cam Payne 0 for 3. And KJ Martin put up a 3. Ricky Council put up a 3. Neither of them made a 3. Mo Bamba. Why are you putting up threes, Mo Bamba? Just stop it. When a big guy, just because you shoot threes in practice and you make some, it does not mean you got to come to the game and shoot them. It does not mean you have to space the floor out. Like, you are the big man. We're dependent on you to maybe grab an offensive rebound. But if you're the one shooting the 3, who's grabbing the offensive rebound? And then with Joel Embiid, okay. And even Embiid has trailed off his threes this year. It's kind of going more to the mid-range game, which I like that. And he's very efficient from the mid-range. But Mo Bamba, I don't care if you did make that 1 3 you shot. Stop shooting threes. Defend the paint, rebound, and get some putbacks. Get some offensive rebounds. And let that be that. Let that be your role on the team. I don't think Nurse wants Bamba shooting threes. So overall, as a team, 24% from the 3-point line. I've been saying all season, anytime we score under 30%, I've been saying all season. If we score under 30%, we're not going to win. And I think we won one game where we scored over 30%, because if we shoot so many threes, we got to be at least over 30% shooting them. And those are my 6 points. That's it. Let's keep it short to the point. We have the New York Knicks on Sunday, and I think we got like 2 games straight with the New York Knicks. Man, that could potentially be 2 more losses. So let's see how it plays out. Maybe we can get Tyrese Maxey back, help us out a little bit. Maybe we can get everybody back, not Embiid and Melton, but maybe everybody else can come back, and we can make a run at getting some wins and not just vying for the play-in tournament. Because it's not exciting basketball, and even tonight, fans just started to leave. I'm so glad I didn't pay for a game like that. Your hard-earned money, hundreds of dollars, to see the team put forth that kind of effort. I don't know, Sixer fans. Anyway, this is the 6 for Sixers podcast. Please, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all that good stuff about the great things we got going on the podcast. And I'll see you next time after the next game. We'll see. Maybe I'll go live and see what happens. All right. Till next time. We haven't played that song in a long time. I mean, come on. I'll play that song, but you can't play it after a loss. So still go Sixers always. And peace. I'll see you the next time. 6 for Sixers, and we are out.